Well, folks, today we are going to be looking at a big story out of the state of Maine. We have a brand new poll that shows Democrat Representative Jarden Golden trailing in his 2026 re-election bid for Maine's 2nd Congressional District, a sign that Democrats may be in trouble in Maine's 2nd Congressional District. We know that if House Republicans want to expand their majority in 2026, states and seats like this are exactly where they need to go. They need to be able to win in places like Maine's 2nd Congressional District, places that Donald Trump won handedly, but Democrats somehow snuck by with a point, half a point, 2 percentage point victory in the last election. Now, Maine's 2nd Congressional District, it is a rural, working class area, and recently has been known for its very swingy nature and very, very competitive races. You look in 2024, Jarden Golden won re-election by a half a percentage point. Half a percentage point. Go to 22, he won by 6 percentage points. Go back to 2020, he won by 6. Go back to 2018, he actually flipped this by a point. Flipped it by a point in 2018. So obviously, very, very close election in this district. But at the same time that he won by half a percentage point in 2024, Donald Trump won Maine's 2nd Congressional District by 9 points. Go back to 2020. Trump won it by 7 at the same time when Jarden Golden won it by 6. So obviously, we know that it has not been getting better for Democrats in this seat. But still, you had 1 point just 4 years ago, not that long ago, when Donald Trump wins by 7.5 points, and then you have a Democrat who wins on the same ballot by 6 points. And if Republicans, if they want to pick up seats, if they want to control the House of Representatives during the second half of Donald Trump's term, they need to win in places like Maine's 2nd Congressional District. Now, this recent poll here, it showed, and it was conducted by Ranger Research for the Congressional Leadership Fund, which is a Republican super PAC, showed, and it surveyed likely voters in Maine's 2nd Congressional District, showed that Paul Lepage, who is the former Republican governor in Maine, he was actually the last elected Republican governor in the state, leading Jarden Golden 48-43, with a margin of error of roughly just under 5 percentage points. So you could say they're kind of right on that line of margin of error, but still, that's 5 percentage points. 5 percentage points difference there. In the same poll, they found that a generic Republican was leading the Democrats 47-38 in a district that is showing huge potential for the GOP here. And as Jarden Golden has narrowly won his last 3 elections, even in one of the elections, he had to rely on ranked choice voting in order to secure the victories. And one time where he had to rely on losing in the first round, but then ended up winning in the second round, the runoff. Now, we all know Jarden Golden, he is much more of a centrist, blue dog Democrat. He's kind of more in the middle. He was the one Democrat in the House who voted for Donald Trump's continuing resolution earlier this year that funded the government until the end of September. So, because he knows his district, and according to the Cook Political Index, they have a rating of, or the district has a rating of +4 for the Republican Party. So obviously he knows he's got a line to toe here. If he's going to be a Democrat and he's going to be successful in the state or in this district, he has to do things a certain way. You cannot just be a far left Democrat, like where the Democrat Party as a whole seems like they want to go. You cannot be far left. You actually have to be down the middle. You actually have to do things that are in the best interest of the people that you represent. Now, you may ask, who is Paul Lepage? Paul Lepage, he was the former governor from the state of Maine. He actually, he was most recently elected in 2014 and then left office in 2018, and that's when Janet Mills actually came and took over. But this was the last time a Republican won the state, was Paul Lepage in 2014. Obviously, that was a very big year for Republicans. But look at this. He won by 5 points in this race. Granted, there was a pretty big independent challenger in here who got almost 9% of the vote here. But remember, this is at the same time that in 2014, Susan Collins won the state of Maine by almost 40 points. So yes, is this a big victory? Yes, but there are Republicans who know how to do it better than Paul Lepage. Like Susan Collins, you're winning by 40 points in the state here. But he's a well-known Republican, and relative for Republicans in the state is very well liked. Very well liked in the state, even though you're not winning by 40 points. He is still very well liked relative to other Republicans in the state. Now, he served as the state's governor from 2011 until 2019, and I think you could say that he is a polarizing Republican with a strong, strong conservative base. You know, he's very well known for his blunt style and conservative policies, which resonate with a lot of people in this district, especially because it's rural. They're working class voters, voters that Donald Trump has made huge inroads with in the Republican Party. They've turned the Democrat Party from the party of the working class to the Republican Party, being the party of the working class. You know, he previously called Jared Golden's 2018 win a, quote, stolen election due to ranked choice voting. Now, we all can have our opinions. I personally don't think ranked choice voting is good. I think you get a completely distorted view of what the people in the state want. Look at Alaska. That is a perfectly good opportunity in the House. You saw overwhelmingly the Republicans were the ones who, if you're looking at raw votes, the people wanted the Republicans. But because it was ranked choice voting, somehow a Democrat won in that state. But now, Lepage has huge name recognition in the state, and past electoral success really makes him not only a formidable opponent, but makes him a big fundraiser. He will be able to fundraise, especially you're seeing a poll like this. You're seeing a poll where he's leading by 5 percentage points. Yeah, that's going to be huge for people who are looking to pour money into this state here to flip this. We know Donald Trump right now has a $600 million war chest that he's willing and prepared to spend on the 2026 midterms in the Senate and in the House. We know he's got a goal of raising $1 billion in his war chest by really summer of next year. States like this is where I think we're going to see more money being poured into because every seat counts. Right now, the Republicans have what? A like 7 or 8 vote majority. Now, yes, it was only a 5 vote majority, but I think there were 3 Democrats who actually died in office so far this year. So it's either 220 to 212 or 213 right now. So they've got about a 7 or 6, 8 or 7 seat majority right now. We know that historically, the last decade or two, historically, the party in power loses about 40 seats. 40 seats in the House of Representatives. And Donald Trump is doing everything he can to make sure that that does not happen. And I think that this is, like we said, this is a prime pickup opportunity. We know that the National Republican Congressional Committee is targeting the seat simply for the fact that Donald Trump won it by 9 points and Jared Golden won it by a half a point. Now, Maine's 2nd Congressional District is one of the most competitive in the country. Like we said earlier, it's rated as a +4 for the Republicans by the Cook Political Partisan Voting Index. And this district supported Donald Trump, not only just this last time around, but the last 2 times around. And I think, let's look in 2016. I actually don't know who. I believe it. Okay, Trump actually flipped it. Wow, it voted for him by 10 points. Voted for Obama by 8. Flipped to Trump by 10 points, and he only won it by 9. Wow. So it actually moved a little bit to the left from 2016 to 2024. Wow, that's very interesting. You know, not many places actually have done that. You look here, yeah, you're 0.5%. You know, obviously, we're not talking about a lot here, but still, look at places like Florida. Look at places like Ohio. Look at Tennessee, Alabama, obviously these darker red, even like places like California, 10 points, New York, 10 points, Illinois, 6 points, New Jersey, 8 points. Huge changes for the Republican Party. Now, we still have to deal with the reality that Maine uses ranked choice voting, which has helped Golden win in tight races in 2018, 2020, and 2022 by redistributing second choice votes. In 2024, he narrowly defeated the Republican nominee, Austin Thiernault, with about 50.3% of the vote after all the votes were counted. And as of right now, the Cook Political Report rates this as a toss-up race for 2026, reflecting really it's unpredictable. But Golden's independent streak really does appeal to some swing voters here. But we could see with a former governor, a former popular governor, a former governor who is very well known in the state, could put up a formidable challenge here. Like, there's no doubt about that. I think you could see a serious challenge put up here. But we're going to see. How does Jared Golden vote over the next 18 months? Like we said, he's a blue dog Democrat, often breaking with his party on issues like gun control, government spend, and trade policies. Like, for example, he voted against Biden's $2 trillion American Rescue Plan and the Build Back Better Act in 2021. Now, we'll see. I think there's a lot that's going to play out. I think this poll is definitely hopeful for the Republican Party. I think it is hopeful. I think this is a big opportunity for Republicans, but Republicans have to get serious. They're not just going to be handed this. Just because one poll came out and said, "Oh, look at this could be nice." You actually have to put in the work still. So we're going to see what happens, but I think this is a race everyone should be following going into 2026, Maine's 2nd Congressional District. But that is going to wrap things up for today, folks. Let me know your thoughts down below on this race. Do you think Paul Lepage can win this race? As always, if you like what we're doing, if you like the videos we're putting out, if you like the content, if you like our overall goal in this community we're trying to build here, drop down below, become part of our community, hit that subscribe button, and you'll never miss another video from us again in the future. And folks, we will catch you next time.